welcome to the Plenty of Positivity podcast. I am your host, Courtney Beck, and today we have Delorean Andrews. Delorean is an instrumentation electrician at Boeing, and he is also an executive vice president at Boeing Leadership Association. It is my absolute pleasure and honor to welcome Delorean Andrews.
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. I really appreciate you allowing me the opportunity to speak to you, share my story with you and your listeners. I'm excited for tonight. This has been a long time coming. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to come to your platform.
Absolutely. And as I said before, Delorean, it truly is an honor because you have an incredible story, one of inspiration that's defined by determination and perseverance. And so I cannot wait to get into this. So right away, let's get started with an introduction, if you could, for our listeners.
Yes, I'm Delorean Andrews. Yes, named after the Back to the Future car. Actually, I'm the first in the United States being named DeLorean. But that we could talk about that later. So I am 41 years old, and I've been with Boeing for 18 wonderful years, working my way up from sheet metal to instrumentation, which is the highest you can go in my job classification as an electrician, aircraft electrician.
That is incredible. And what's so interesting is, as you mentioned, 18 years at Boeing, but I want to start from the very beginning. And I always like to think about, as I reflect, even those individuals that were extremely impactful in laying the foundation, very positive influence in our life. So, who maybe was that person, or perhaps family members, friends from the very beginning, that would allow you to grow and to thrive, not only in your career, but also in life?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. I will say three: my grandmother, my mother, and I have a coach. I saw this coach reading a stock market at that time back in like 98, 99. You would view the stock market in the newspaper to see the results from the prior day. So that sparked my fascination with the stock market. But my mother taught me work ethic, having me work in her apartments, her mini apartments. She's a successful landlord in the Philadelphia area, and she's been a landlord since the 80s. And my mother taught me the value of money at a very young age, and the value of hard work and dedication and determination when you want something. My grandmother, for the love and compassion and empathy she has instilled in me, growing up in the inner city of Miami, which is a very rough city. I grew up 46th and 7th Avenue, which is in the heart of Miami, Liberty City. Very tough, but with my mother's work ethic in me, with my determination, and with the love and compassion my grandmother has instilled in me, I was able to survive the inner city of Miami.
No, that's incredible. I mean, like I said, there's always those individuals that play such a profound impact as to where we are today in life. And when you talk about your story, DeLorean, I'm so excited. As soon as I read this particular article that was written by Boeing, as far as the company, it actually went viral within the company. And so I just would love for you to speak about, as you mentioned, that hard work ethic that was instilled in you at such a young age, that determination to achieve no matter what, like as far as the wind against you, so to speak, that you were going to rise. So if you could just please walk us through that journey up until present day.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So I have to be honest, it started so long ago that I wanted greatness in my life. I've always had hard work and determination in my heart. I never had things handed to me. That's one thing one of many things I truly appreciate about my mother, because it allowed me to build my own worth ethic within me. When you want something, you work hard for it. So, I remember days when I first came up from Miami, it was hard to find a job. And I was working at a thrift store making $5, $6 an hour because I was working for a temp agency. So it was like the pay wasn't there, but it was paying the bills, sort of say. Um, so every job that I ever had, I've always heard, man, you got strong work ethic. My very first job was working at Family Dollar. So I was my junior year in high school. I worked at Family Dollar as a cashier, as a stock boy. And I want to say this, I saved most of my paycheck. I like to get sneakers and clothes, but I saved most of my paycheck. And I graduated my senior year with $4,000.
That
So
is, if I go back, I actually have very fond memories. My very first job, DeLorean, was actually at Hallmark Cards. And it was such a memorable time that I had there. I was 14. I was right around, you're right. I think it was either sophomore or junior
mhm,
year. But there's something about that very first position, laying that foundation with that strong work ethic that would allow you to rise later on.
yeah.
But $4,000, I could assure you I did not have that in my
Yeah.
So that's incredible. I mean, and you mentioned too how your mother taught you also about like the value of money. When you actually saved up that $4,000, what did that teach you? And were you able to reflect back at what mom had taught you and how you were going to actually, pull that through your life from that very first foundation laid?
Yes. Excellent question. So I remember being a young boy. I had a notebook and I would cut grass. In Florida, mangoes fall and they rot on the ground. So I would knock on neighbors' doors to pick up rotting mangoes and clean up their yards for them. That was one of the jobs that I did. I would rake leaves. I would wash cars. I would go to the gas station and ask women would they would like their gas pump. So I've always had it in me. All my I used to work at a car wash. I had a bike, so I would ride up to the car wash and I got $5 a car. Every time I washed the car, I got $5. So the more cars you wash, the more money you can make in one day. So I've always had that instilled in me. And I've always wondered if my mother didn't teach me the value of money, will I respect money? A lot of folks they get reckless with their money and then they get themselves in tough situations. But I remember at 12, 13, I kept a notebook. And for Christmas, birthdays, little chores that I would do around the house, going out into the neighborhoods making money, I was able to have about $500 at 12, 13 years old. $500. And I would count it out, I would wash it, I would iron it, and I would put the money up and I would save it. And I wouldn't buy anything with it, and I would just save. So it's always been there. It's just I truly thank my mother for that, because if my mother would have purchased things for me or just, oh yeah, I'm gonna go buy you whatever you want, I probably would not have the same respect for money that I have today.
No, that's wonderful. And I always think about the valuable lessons that parents allow us to experience almost like on our own, to your very point, like
Yeah.
not necessarily purchasing so many things for you, but understanding the value of a dollar as you would go on. Now, in this particular article that Boeing had written, it speaks about how you went from a trash collector to a technician. Now, walk us through that whole journey.
I get so butterflies. So I'll give you the exclusive. This is just for you.
Well,
You're going to be the first ever to hear this, and your listeners will be the first ever to hear this. So it started with going to a temp agency. The temp agency uh found me a job at the found me a job at the thrift store, right?
mhm,
And there was an opportunity for they had a hiring fair. So there was a representative from Delaware County Community College, Mr. Jack Powell. He was there. he has retired from Delaware County since then, but he has retired from Delaware County. But Mr. Jack Powell was there, and they did a 3-stage interview. And I was there to find another job. So I was already currently working, but I wanted a second job to be able to make more money because it just wasn't enough. But then I saw they had a hiring fair, and I said, well, let me try. Let me put my name in the hat. So I did an interview the same day. I made it to the second round. The second round was like pretty much asking about 50 to 60 questions. I passed that. And I went to the final interview where Mr. Jack was in front of me, and he interviewed me face to face. And I got accepted into a program that Delaware County Community College was offering. It was a 10-week program to train you up for an entry-level job in aviation. And the cost was $3,500. But now guess what? Since I was already part of CareerLink paid for the $3,500. So I got the training. After I got the training, I went to Delaware County and I did my 10 weeks. I graduated. I put my application in at Boeing, and the rest is history. And I have 18 years at Boeing.
That is unbelievable. And through this journey, I could remember you also received your aviation license too. Is that correct?
Yes. So my aviation license, I'm a part-time pilot, I like to say. It has been, the bug has hit me as far as aviation. It started with my vehicle. My vehicle broke down in 2008. I paid a mechanic to fix it. And I'm like, wait a second. I'm building $32 million aircraft. Why can't I fix this $10,000 vehicle? So I started to fix my own vehicle, and it started to build confidence in me that I can do more. Never in my life did I work on cars or brakes or radiators or anything, spark plugs. And I started to learn how to do these things on my own vehicle. Then I said, you know what? If I can do this on my own vehicle, I can challenge myself to do this on a $32 million aircraft. And I started taking on more and more roles, more and more responsibilities, opportunities opened up. And I came into Boeing in 2007 as a sheet metal mechanic. And what that is pretty much everything metal on the outside of the aircraft, the skin, the walls is what I built, building the shell of the aircraft. To now, I run all the avionics of the aircraft. Everything that is on that aircraft, I make sure that when those pilots sit in that seat, that those systems that they want to operate operates. So I do all electrical testing on this aircraft, coming out of sheet metal 18 years ago.
That is unbelievable. And I would love to, from the very beginning, the lessons that you would learn throughout, because it's truly remarkable how quick you moved up in Boeing within those 18 years. I mean, I was fascinated reading your resume on LinkedIn, and I'm like, I mean, really, that is like a testament to your hard work, your character, and who you are as a person. Because especially like 18 years, I just think about that. Like I think about when I was in corporate and how difficult for me, like I was in sales, but how difficult it was to get to that next level. And
Yeah,
so that really is, it's just a testament to who you are, Delorean, as a person. But those lessons, could you maybe just walk us through
yeah.
like those valuable lessons that you've learned?
One lesson in particular, I'll back up a little bit of how this all started.
Mhm.
So not from Philly, didn't know the transportation system, how it worked. There was 69th Street. It's a big intersection of bus, trains, everything comes to 69th Street in Philadelphia. Now, the trash truck issue, right? Um, I got hired and fired in 24 hours. So I'm looking for a job. I, I have to back up just a little bit. Before I met Mr. Jack Powell, I was scheduled to be a trash man. And I was so eager to start, I wanted to start Friday. instead of Monday. So they said, yes, come on in on Friday. I did not know the train system doesn't open up until 5 o'clock. You have to be at the trash depot at 5 a.m. I didn't have a vehicle. Only thing I could catch was the 100 train. I remember the train, the 100 train to get to Norristown. And I got on the bus. I had my fresh outfit from Kmart. I had my fresh trash man shoes. I'm ready to toss this trash or dry this truck. I'm ready to make some money. And I remember getting to 69th Street and the doors was locked. And we are talking 3 o'clock in the morning. I was up early. I'm ready to catch this train. The door was locked. And I was like, it can't be closed. So I walked to one of the bus guys and I said, hey, what time does 69th Street open? He says 5 o'clock. I said, I have to be at the destination at 5. Being proactive, I made a phone call, left a message. Of course, no one was there yet. I said, hey, I'm on my way. I'm trying to get there. I don't have a vehicle. And I called again I got back on the bus, went back home, called again at 4:30, left a message. No one answered. Call back again, 4:45. The woman that hired me answered the phone and she said, we have a lot of people coming from Philadelphia that seems to make it on time. But since you didn't get here on time, your services are no longer needed. So I got fired before I even started working. But now here's the amazing part. Mr. Jack Powell's number was in my pocket. And the hiring fair, remember this is Friday, the hiring fair started at 9 a.m. So I said, do I sit here and wallow or do I get up and go to this interview, this fair? And I decided to get up in my trash man outfit, I call it. I showed up and I explained to Mr. Jack why I'm dressed like this. I didn't want to be late. I didn't want to change. I didn't even have any dress clothes to change into. I said, I just want to work. I want to come here and do these interviews. And the rest was history. And that's how I got my opportunity inside of Delaware County Community College, who paid for, CareerLink paid for the education, the 10-week course. Delaware Community they had the relationship with Boeing that then allowed me the entry level into Boeing. So the lesson in this is determination and not giving up. Because I could have easily just stayed home, went back to sleep because it was very early in the morning, and just stayed on that bed and maybe go to the temp agency when I got up or went somewhere else and found another job. But I decided to go to this hiring fair, and it allowed me to have an opportunity because I did not have any aviation history prior to that. No prior military service, no A&P license at the time, no pilot license at the time, and I didn't have that history. So I went from not knowing anything about aircraft to now I'm running and testing the electrical system on these aircrafts. So the lesson in that is determination, being able to see the vision before anyone else sees the vision, having a plan, sticking with that vision and not losing focus. And one lesson too is to believe in yourself and to know that if you put your mind to anything, you can do it.
Delorean, you have me so excited. Like, I just can't wait to talk about this. So, you know, from the very beginning, when that happened, when you got that, when you called her and she said, your services are no longer needed, I just want to reiterate that sense of determination. Like you said, you could have just sat there, like wallowed, like, why me? But instead, you rose up. And this is something I feel like it takes some maturity, of course, like as you go through the years. But one thing I've recognized in life is that what looks to be like a door closed is actually redirecting you to perhaps something even better. And in your case, my gosh, that is an understatement. I mean, look at all the opportunities that you have been provided. But not only that, you have given back so much to the community. And I'm going to go through all of this. We're going to go back to the job too, as
Okay.
well. But I am just so excited to talk about this. Release the brakes. Could you
Ooh.
please speak about what the release the brakes is and why you started that?
So release the brakes. I'll give you a quick joke. So many people mess it up. They're like, "Yeah, I love your organization. Pump the brakes. I love your organization. No brakes at all." I'm like, "It's called release the brakes." so, um, release the brakes was born in 2014. I went through a difficult time, and I had said a prayer to God, and I said, "God, if you can help me get through this difficult time, I will dedicate my life to the community." And God answered my prayers. And from that day on, I dedicated my life to young kids. And I started with teaching young African American men and minorities how to tie a tie, right?
Sure.
A simple tie. A lot of children don't understand the science and the art of tying a tie or a bow tie. So I started at the Boys and Girls Club of Chester, and there was a news reporter there. Did not know she was going to be there. She was there. She saw what I did, and she wrote a 2-page, 3-page spread, which I have about 5 copies. I keep them in a safe because that's how much I value the newspaper article. Um, so I taught these young 700 over 700. I went to New York. I went to Lima Detention Center, uh, the Youth Detention Center. I've been to Florida. I've been to Delaware, Philadelphia, and I've taught young African American men and minorities, young boys also, how to tie a necktie. And then my orthodontist that did my wonderful smile, he read my article and he called me and he says, "I want to work with you. I feel moved to help the community." And he read my article and he was moved to come to Chester, Pennsylvania, set up a mobile station to provide 15 children with free braces. So to this day, we have 15 young people walking around with a beautiful smile because of the article that my orthodontist read, and he was moved to provide free braces to these young people. So I release the brakes has been nothing but God, and I truly appreciate um, God answering my prayers. It has opened up many doors. Every year, around October, November, I do a sneaker drive for the homeless in Center City. It used to be at Love Park. They moved Love Park, so the homeless have now migrated to a different part of the city. But every year, I do a sneaker drive, and my dream and my goal is to go state to state with it. Go to a major city and show up and pass out brand new sneakers and brand new socks to the homeless.
That is unbelievable. I just want to commend you. I mean, talk about how acts of kindness could truly ripple throughout a community. And that was because of you, Delorean. I mean, like you said, with that orthodontist. And it really does. Like, I think there's something to be said about doing something positive. Serving others really does provide a I don't know. It's like a certain level of fulfillment, even within you, as you are helping another human being. That high level of satisfaction of knowing that you're helping another. Maybe it's get to another goal or to achieve that goal. But I love what you're doing with Release the Brakes. I think it's incredible. But most of all, when you talk about like being a role model, like helping, you were talking about just learning how to tie a tie, but you're so much more than teaching just skills. It's you are a role model to many people out there. And I know that was one goal that you had because your story is so inspirational and could truly help so many people, not just kids and youth, but my gosh, grown adults. And that's why I'm so excited to have you on this podcast today and to share your story because it truly is the moment that I literally read that article. I was definitely moved and I thought to myself, so many people need to hear this story. So
Yeah.
from youth to grown adults, like you truly are like a shining light for everybody, and to be literally that inspiration for others to go for their dreams and goals. So I just want you to know that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I want to circle back around to Boeing. And as you would go through, we spoke about those lessons that you have learned, but what does it mean to you to get to this position that you are currently at today? And I believe it's the V22 Osprey, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but CCRAM Instrumentation Electrician. That is your formal title. But
Yes.
what does it mean to get to that level today? And what have you learned about yourself in that position and role?
Ooh, that is a very good question. Um, when I think back to 2007, walking through the doors of Boeing, Philadelphia, it was like one being signed to the NFL, right? Great company. I just had all these like, it felt like I walked into Disney World. You know, not that they play games there, but that it was
Yeah.
such a strong company, and I appreciated um the the opportunity to work for them.
Mhm.
And when I got the opportunity in 2007, when I walked through those doors, I saw like it was intimidating. Aircraft that I never worked on before, um, the never having experience. I didn't know anything from anything, right? The only
Mhm.
training I had was from DCCC, Delaware Community College. Um, but I knew that there was opportunity to be better. And whatever job I get or whatever assignment I would get, I will make sure that my name was it was quality work.
Yeah.
My name is very unique, Delorean. There's no other Delorean in the world but me.
Oh.
um, my name means everything to me. So it's my brand. It's my brand. It's who I am. I know the whole history behind DeLorean, the Back to the Future movie.
Mhm.
John DeLorean, I know his daughter. His daughter and I still stay in contact. So it's just beautiful. My name means a lot to me. So my point is, I walked through those doors and I said, whatever I do here, I'm going to make sure I do it with excellence. And that's what made room for me. Keeping my head down, learning, being willing to learn, being willing to absorb the information that is given to me, and then taking that and perfecting it. And the way my mind works, I'm very, very detail oriented. My grandmother, if she was here, she's still here in Philadelphia. If she was here right now, she would tell you DeLorean had all his shoes lined up. He had all his colognes lined up. He had his shirts white, black, blue. Just everything about me is very detail oriented. And that helped me in my career with different assignments that I would do because I'm very thorough with the work that I do. And I allow my talents to just make room for me. And when I worked hard and that work ethic came together with opportunities, it it seemed like it took off like a rocket, but it was a hill to climb from
Sure.
2007 to 2025 to be where I'm at today. But what has that role done for me? It has built my confidence up to a level of I feel there's no challenge that I'm not willing to go after. If you, and I know a lot of the Marines out there will laugh at this, if you can work on the V22 Osprey, you can work on anything in life. It is one of the most complex aircrafts you will ever come across. So for me to learn that platform, I call it growing up on Chinook. I grew up on a CH-47 about 17 years of my career, and then I grew up more on the V22 for about a year of my career. So for me, what I got out of that was confidence that, hey, if I can work on this extremely complex, uh, difficult aircraft, I could accomplish anything. Where I am a 41-year-old straight A 4.0 student at Widener University right now and going to work every day. So it's nothing you can't do.
I cannot wait to get to the academic part. But DeLorean, I think this is such a profound lesson that I think could resonate with so many people, in the respect that, like you said, when you were walking through those doors for the very first time at Boeing, it was a little bit like a combination of like intimidation, but excitement at the same time. But how when we start things in life, you're not going to know every single detail and be the best at everything right when you first start. But I think it's truly about taking those first couple steps. And you mentioned it, just having an open mind and a willingness to learn, because truly you're a testament to where it could take you in life. And when you talk about something I get so excited about is that sense of belief in oneself before others could believe in
Mm.
you.
Yes.
And that gave me chills when you were talking about that, because I think that's so important in life for anybody that's taking on something that seems impossible, but
Yeah.
truly it's possible when you take small steps and you believe in yourself that you could achieve it. It may take, months, it may take 5 years, 10 years, but with that perseverance that you certainly entail and that you live by, I mean, it really is. It's such a motivation and a testament that you could achieve your dreams when you believe in yourself. So I loved that. I was listening every second that you were talking about that and just picking out those key phrases and key words that really can help others in their life if they're trying to, gosh, I really want to go after that goal, but I'm a little nervous. Like, what does that look like to actually go for it?
Yeah.
And I just love that you mentioned that. But as you also mentioned, you spoke about going back to college. So I want to hear all about this journey, and why did you choose to go back to college at this point in your life?
Ooh, that's a good one too. That's good. You got some good questions.
Thank you, Lori.
And I never think about it. So when I hear the question, it's like, wow, I didn't even think about that. So your questions are amazing. Um,
Thank you.
so with college, I went back to college after graduating with the entry level
Mhm.
certificate into Boeing. I went back for engineering, and in 2017, I finished my associates in engineering at Delaware County Community. And from there, I was like, oh, maybe I should go to Penn State or, the typical Villanova. And I said, Widener is right up the street from Boeing. If I need to go on campus, I could be right there. So I chose Widener and I got into their leadership degree because I felt like I am a natural born leader. I felt I am
Yeah.
a people's person. I love teaching. I love being able to lead. There's a difference between a manager and a leader. I am a natural born leader. So Widener just has been an excellent, excellent school. The work has been extremely challenging, but it pays off. I found my battle rhythm. Boeing uses this term, the battle rhythm. So I found my battle rhythm, and I found that I do very well with two classes. When I try to do 3 to 4, that last class kind of suffers, or that third class suffers. So I found my rhythm of two classes a semester. I've been on I've been on track with Widener since 2018. So it's been a long journey, right? Off and on, obstacles, financial situations, COVID had hit, schools had things just was so changing around 2019 and 20. So I took a 2-year hiatus, and I focused on my finances. So I, for 2 years, got my finances where they need to be. I am currently debt free, and I decided, okay, now is the time to go back to school because one, I'm not a man that doesn't finish what he starts. So I started this journey and I said, I'm going to finish this degree. And here's the great thing, right? I was a little reluctant to restart. I'm like, oh, I'm 40 years old. I don't know if I'm mentally can do it. Well, when my advisor called me and says, hey, do you know you have 80 credits and you only need a few more to go to get your bachelor's? It just, I'm like, I can do this. I'm right at the finish line. So I took a few classes. I took one class, got an A. I'm like, okay, let me add two more. Got two A's. I'm like, okay. So currently I'm in class now, two A's. And here's the thing. When he sent me my transcript, I look back. I didn't know this at all. And I shared this on LinkedIn. I look back and I was making dean's lists every semester. Now, here's the thing about a continuing studies student, because I work full time and I go to school part time. A full time student has to take 4 classes. So to be on the dean's list at Widener, you have to take 2 classes, right? So I took 2 classes that made me eligible to be on the dean's list. So I've made the dean's list 7 consecutive times, back to back semesters. So what did I do? I decided, okay, the dean's list is cool, but let me turn it up a little bit. What do I need to be magna cum laude and or valedictorian? And I looked, and you need a 3.8, and I currently have a 4.0. So I'm on track. If I can keep up these next 8 classes, because I'm graduating spring of next year, I'll graduate magna cum laude.
Wow. Oh, you have me just so excited for you. My gosh. Like, it seems like when you went back to school, you had such a strong dedication is to seeing the big picture. And like you said, just taking one class and then you started taking 2. But I commend you because one thing I will say is, of course, as we know, as life goes on,
Yeah,
there's just more responsibility in life, as we know, more tasks to take on and to juggle. And so to be able to go back to school while obviously you're at Boeing full time, I mean, that speaks volumes. That is dedication because I can't even imagine going after a full day of work, for example, if you do have night classes and that idea of trying to remain focused because you mentioned that in this conversation, but how important focus is, especially today when we have so many distractions around us, but to be able to not only go back to school, but to truly excel. I
yeah.
mean, Delorean, that really a big, big congratulations to you because
Thank you.
that's such a testament, like I said, just to who you are as a person and that hard work ethic that your family instilled into you from the very beginning.
Thank you. Thank you. And I think what I would like to say to your listeners is finding your why. Why are you doing this? You know, your why gets you up out of your bed to go to the gym when you don't feel like it. Your why gets you up to walk your dog when you don't feel like it. Your why gets you up to do anything that you set your mind to in life. You know, once you find your why, it's your fuel to push you through. And my fuel to push me through is when I hear that you can't do something. You know, I once was told that I wasn't college material, and now I am a 4.0 student. So that moment in, I think it was 1996, 1997, I was told by a close family member that I was not college material and they didn't see me making it through college. And here I am, proving them wrong.
I think that's incredible. And that's really like when you look at, as you go through life, you're right. Sometimes we hear these, whether they're comments said to us or you hear it through the grapevine, so to speak. But sometimes I feel like I've reflected in those moments when something maybe negative has been said to you. But I feel like looking at definitely, like I said, it took me some time to mature, DeLorean. So this is a work in progress, no doubt. But when I would stop and reflect as to why that was said at a certain point, it's so easy to look like back in hindsight. But as it's taking place, like you said, you're like, no, I could totally do this. And it really
Yeah.
does. It lights that fire.
Yes.
And the times that I've had those instances where you're like, hold on, what did they say?
Uh,
But when you look back, it's like that literally that fueled you, what you were talking about, that why of why you started. And when you are going through those challenges along the way, and maybe you hit a speed bump, figuratively speaking,
yes.
it really does push you over the edge of like, man, I have that extra fuel in me to keep going, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So no, that's what a fabulous story. Like I said, just pairing academics, the willingness to learn, and obviously you just have a passion for leadership, and you certainly are a leader. That's one thing that I noticed after reading that article. Obviously, we spoke earlier too, is that you truly do lead by example. And that's something to be said, because it's also like, okay, you could, talk the talk, but then also to walk the walk with it,
Yeah.
and to inspire, like I said, youth with Release the Brakes and so many other people. So we have so many things to get to. I want to get to your book now,
Oh,
Delorean.
yeah. Yes.
Let's point to it. Yay. So can't stop, won't stop. Woohoo! I love it. I love it. So I want to hear if you could share with our audience why you wrote this book.
Ooh. Okay. So, um, I lost my father, February 4th, Super Bowl night, 2019. I'm having a party at my house. Did not know my dad was dying. My dad, um, uh, went through a tough time, with his health, and he passed away Super Bowl night after the Super Bowl was over, uh,
Mhm.
February 4th. So this book is important because I released the book on my father's, death anniversary. So
Oh.
this book was released on his, death anniversary. And the reason why I chose the title Can't Stop, Won't Stop is because that's just what I've been doing. I just can't stop. I'm just going to keep going until I can't go no more. So when I'm an older gentleman sitting on a rocking chair, I don't live with regrets. I can say, I done tried everything. I am good. I drink my hot tea and eat my biscuit, and I'm good. So Can't Stop, Won't Stop was written because I've never been injured in my life. And I was playing a sport and I ended up tearing my Achilles.
Mm.
And for the first time in my life, I was disabled. And I actually walked around for 30 days like that. I did not know I tore my Achilles. It just kept swelling up. It kept going down at night, swelling up again. I thought it was just a twisted ankle. So one of my coworkers said, "Hey man, why don't you go get an MRI? Just get it checked out, see what they say." So sure enough, it was severed. And they told me if I would have waited any longer, if I would have waited another 15 to 30 days, I would have been permanently disabled. I would have had a limp for life. And I wouldn't have been able to jump. I wouldn't be able to run. So backing up a little bit, my first time being injured, I was home and I was by myself. And I just didn't have anyone. Like I didn't have no one to help me up the stairs. So for about 2.5 weeks, I just stayed on the couch. It was very difficult to being transparent with your listeners. It was very difficult to hop up the stairs with one leg to take a shower.
Mhm.
So I just decided I'm just going to lay on the couch. And I stayed on the couch and I fell into despair of myself.
Yeah.
First time ever in my life. I've always been a happy, positive, upbeat person. But for the first time in my life, I was just like in a place that I never been before. It was unfamiliar. And I laid on the sofa and one day I decided to hop downstairs on one leg and I opened the door and it was a beautiful winter sunny day and the sun
Mhm.
hit my face for the first time in 2 weeks. And I just felt a energy and I said, I'm gonna go for a walk. So I had my crutches. I went for a walk. And then a good friend of mine had a scooter that you put your knee up on and scoot around. And he says, use this, give it back whenever you feel like you want to give it back. and I went for a scoot around the block. I went to the store and I started venturing out. But what got me through those moments were every day I would write a quote and put the sticky on the mirror to remind myself, to motivate myself. And after I went through this journey of being injured and recovering from my injury, I decided that someone else might be going through the same thing. I said to myself, someone else probably needs to hear this story because they may be sitting on their sofa feeling hopeless. So I said, let me release, release my book and my quotes that got me through. And I just want to share with your listeners. I'm just going to randomly open to any page. Okay. Wow. We talked about this earlier. This is wow. A man is not just a man because of his anatomy, but in how he handles a storm when it comes, and how he handles trouble and adversity when it comes. And we had just talked about that this morning. And I just opened this book to that chapter. And that makes a lot of sense. You don't become a seasoned pilot if you don't fly in bad weather. You don't become a seasoned shipmate or captain if you don't have rough seas. So that's where my mindset has always been, is that things that seem to hurt you, it only makes you stronger. It makes you better. It makes you an even better pilot. And I have a special treat at the end of this. I'll share a little story of when I took my first solo flight when I got my license.
Oh, I cannot wait to hear that, Delorean. Oh, so when you were talking about obviously this book, but this idea that so many people could relate to what you went through, not even maybe a physical injury, but maybe something happened in their personal life to like get you over that. And I believe that's so powerful what you were doing as placing those like stick it notes, if you will, like on a mirror, because there's something to be said about, I think about like writing down even positive affirmations in the morning, but anytime you're focused on positivity in some way, but elevating that positive mindset, I really do. I think it could shift your perspective in ways that it's like almost like it wasn't possible, but like when you read a positive quote, how you feel about that. I'm a big quote person. So DeLorean, I cannot wait to read this book. I'm serious. I'm all about quotes. But I'm so happy that as you were going through it, you were able to reflect, wow, somebody else could probably use this and just have like a little bit, just that ounce of hope as to how I got over or like through obviously what you were going through. And so, like, with those post-it notes and then writing this particular book, I just want to know, like, what is next for DeLorean? Is DeLorean going to write another book, perhaps?
I do feel another book is coming. I think that what I've witnessed with working with young males is fatherless homes.
Yeah.
I grew up in a fatherless home. My dad was in a different state. My dad loved me to pieces. I love my dad to pieces. We just grew up in two separate states. So what I would love to share with younger generations is that just because your father or your mother is not in your life, you don't have to be, you could be from an environment. You don't have to be of that environment. You don't have to let that destroy who you are deep down. Not having my father in my daily life did not cause me to go commit crimes or anything like that. So what I appreciate is that God has given me the vision and given me the gift. So yes, I will be releasing a book. After I do want to release this book with a purpose behind it. So what's next for me? I am on the verge of creating a program that will allow young folks to be able to go for a flight, a discovery flight, to be exposed to STEM, to understand about who the Tuskegee Airmen are, because I am the STEM director, youth director for Tuskegee Airmen of Philadelphia. So I actually walk, talk, sit with living legends who flew in World War II, who were fighter pilots, who still are fighter pilots, but retired. But I am definitely going to release another book. I did want to share a magazine company that wrote an article about me also. So
Wow.
this is the fall. I'll just share pretty
Please.
briefly. This is the fall issue. And please look them up if you get an opportunity to. You can find this article here. So this is my solo picture, the day I took my solo flight.
I want to hear about that day, DeLorean. What was like going through your mind? Was it all excitement? Was it like sheer nerves? Like, wow, this day's actually here. Tell us all about it.
Okay, here's the treat. Here's the treat. So again, about what I said about being a seasoned pilot. Now, all my training has been smooth landings. Everything went perfectly. Sometimes I might have made a mistake. My instructor was forgiving and I was able to fix it. So on solo day, I had family members watching. It was windy. So we had about 15 miles per hour winds, enough to bend the tree limbs. So it was enough wind to make the tree limbs bend. So we take off, my instructor and I, we take off, and I have to, per FAA, you do 2 takeoff and landings. Your instructor gives you the thumbs up that he's comfortable. You drop him off. Now you're ready for your solo. So I did my takeoff, called the tower. Everything was great. My instructor said, "You're doing great."
Mhm.
The second coming in for a landing, there was a fox that was crossing the runway. Out of this whole big airport, this fox decides to cross right in front of me. So we call the tower. They chase the fox away. And we do our third lap. Instructor gives me a thumbs up. I drop him off at my family. Now we got cameras, lights, and action. It is time to go up by myself. I actually shared on LinkedIn. If folks want to go back, your listeners want to go back and watch the video, I shared a video of solo day. So I'm now by myself, right? And I'm headed to the runway. I'm remembering everything he taught me. I'm talking to tower. I go to take off. Everything is perfect, right? Now, on our way back, he opened the window to get some air. That's the only way you can get air in a Cessna 172. There's no air conditioning. You have to open the window, and the breeze from the propellers and you moving forward pushes air inside the cockpit. So that's how you got your air conditioning. So he opened the cockpit. He opened the window, and the fly got into the cockpit. Out of all this earth for this fly to fly in, he decides to come into this plane. Now, I drop him off, and I go to take off. I take off. Everything is good. Temperature gauge is good. Engine is performing great. My climb out speed is looking great. The sky is clear. Radio is working. I'm good. I'm excited. I'm focused. So here come this fly, all in front of me. Okay. Get him out the way. I fly. I do my first lap, make my calls to tower. Things are perfect. I land perfectly. Now that first landing, I said, I'm good now. I got it. I
Got the
did the hard part.
confidence.
Yeah, I'm confident. I know what I'm doing. I go to take off the second time. I get to the halfway point where I have to talk to tower, let them know what I'm doing, so they keep us all safe in the sky. They didn't respond. That's odd. So here's my muscle memory. Wilmington Tower, this is Cessna 35802, coming in for runway 32. Nothing. They didn't tell me clear for landing. They didn't tell me hold tight. What's going on? I make the call again. I make the call again. Nothing. I'm nervous now. For a quick, brief second, I'm nervous. I can't talk to the people that keep me safe in the sky. So I said, Wilmington Tower, Cessna 35802, you probably can hear me, but I can't hear you. I believe my radio comms are out. So I'm going to enter left base. This is me just talking to whoever might be listening. So I'm flying over the river. Still didn't hear anything back. Now my comms are out. I'm making a decision as a pilot that my comms is not working. So I made the decision. I said, I'm just gonna land this thing. I'm just gonna land it. I'm just gonna take the chance. I'm gonna land it. I gotta get down. So I turn base. I turn final. Now I come in for a landing. Guess who shows up on the runway? The fox.
Fox. No.
The fox. The fox is back. He's back. So the fox, the fly, the radio.
Oh.
So I'm literally thinking, is this how I'm gonna go? Like I'm literally thinking
Are you
everything that could go wrong is
kidding
going
me?
wrong. So I look over to the right. I'm coming in for my landing. I look over to the right and I see this big, big spotlight. Red and green. Red means you can't land. Green means you're okay. So I looked over to the right. The tower in FAA, the books that what they teach us in an emergency. If your comms go out, you tune your radio to a certain frequency. That lets them know what's happening to your aircraft.
Sure.
Also, they use a spotlight to communicate with you. So the green told me I was okay to land. So I landed. Now the Fox took off. I landed. Mr. Fly, he was buckled up in the passenger seat, co-pilot seat. I land and I made a decision. Now, per tradition, your solo flight is 3 laps. But I made a decision that I was only going to do 2 because my comms was out. So I ended up going back to the hangar and that was my solo flight. Now, you asked about, was I nervous? That whole time, for a brief second, I was nervous, but the training kicked in. As a pilot, the number one thing they teach us is to stay calm and to fly the airplane no matter what is going on. If things are falling off, if the thing is on fire, you fly that plane all the way to the ground. That's what they teach us as far as FAA training. And it makes sense. You don't want to jump out of a plane and you don't know where this thing is going and then it hurt innocent people. So you fly that plane as much as you can to the ground. So the next thing, I didn't have time to be nervous. I had time to fly. My training kicked in. I focused. I landed the plane. I got back to the ground safely. That was my solo. Now, my second flight, nothing went wrong. I was more nervous with my second solo. I'm like, the engine sound funny. Oh, my speed is too fast. I'm 5 miles too fast. I have too much time because I'm thinking about everything. But my first flight, no, I wasn't nervous at all.
That's unbelievable. So I do have a question for you because it really is. It's one thing to say, like, as you have the fox, you have the fly, everything. How did you overcome not being nervous? Like, how did you not allow that to take over your body and to, obviously start like panicking of, what else could go wrong? Like, what in that moment, what did you think about that shifted your mindset to say, no, this is going to work out? Like, fine, I'm going to make a landing, properly and safely.
What I tapped into was in the aviation world,
Yeah.
they embed in our head, in our thinking process, that you don't rise to your training. you allow your training to be the standard. So in an emergency, you're not like thinking about it. Your training just kicks in to do what you need to do. And the reason why I didn't panic was when you panic, you lose control.
Right.
So for me, I knew I was in control of the plane. I knew I had the power to turn the power down. I had the power to add power. Um, I had the opportunity. I had my landing gears. It was a beautiful day outside. It wasn't like it was a thunderstorm I'm worried about. It wasn't an engine went out. It was like I quickly thought about what can I control in the situation. And then I allow myself to rely on my training. Okay, in an emergency, my comms is out. Do I have control over the aircraft? Yes. So what can I do? The best thing I can do is land.
Yeah.
So that's what I decided to do was land.
I think about that. Control the controllables. You
Yeah.
can't do anything else. You can't, you know what I mean? And so I'm just always so curious, like in those pivotal moments, what goes through one's mind to be able to remain calm. And I kind of think about it almost in relation to sport in the capacity that when you're about to, I think about gymnastics, that's where my background is. But when you are about to compete, you're literally like, you're kind of on autopilot, not to relate literally to
Yeah.
your story,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean? That was pretty good pun intended there, right?
That was
Um,
good.
thank you. Thank you. But it really is. It's that idea that all that practice, all those hours spent in the gym training prepares you for that very moment to overcome any type of nerves that may kick in. You've already practiced so much, literally, your body takes over at that point. So it seems like from what you were speaking about that idea of control the controllables, but it's the same, almost the same analogy in a
Yeah.
way that could be related to sport.
Yes. And
So
and like I stated earlier, you know, that rough day with the winds, that was another factor in there. The winds was pushing the aircraft all over the place, trying to stay controlled. It makes you a better pilot. So on a calm day, it's like, wow, I'm driving a Mercedes Benz right now. It's no problems. The road is smooth. The skies are smooth. So it helps you. It builds that confidence. Hey, I just flew in a windy condition. Now today is a calm wind day. So you just have that much more confidence in your flying abilities, and you can use that in life. You experience some trials and tribulations, but it just makes you that much better prepared and equipped to meet those challenges.
I just love this. We're talking about the three main components of this podcast: life, sport, and career.
Yeah,
And you're so right though. I mean, it's so relatable to life because where true growth, where that personal growth happens is honestly during those challenging times as you are walking through the journey. It's not about the destination. I feel like sometimes, especially
yeah,
today, we're so eager to get to that, from point A to point B. I want to get
yeah,
to the end. I want to achieve that goal. But truly, all of your growth, all of that development really happens in between when, quote, the storm does happen.
yeah,
It's so easy when you win and you get that award. I mean, you get all the pats on the back, everything else, you get the trophy to put up, in your office or what have you. But it really is, I think it's about those challenging times that you learn so much even about yourself. And that's in relation, of course, to career in the sense when you are flying up there and it becomes turbulent, that's when all your training kicks in
yeah,
and you're able to apply it. So,
yeah.
I love this, DeLorean, like everything all at once, life, sport, and career. So, but DeLorean, we just absolutely love to end with a positive quote or a positive message.
Okay, absolutely. I'll give one from my book. Speaking of my book, I would love to send you a copy. I will sign it. So this is my book here. For your listeners, you can find my book on Amazon if you type in Delorean Andrews, Can't Stop, Won't Stop. And what I'll do for your listeners is if I will send them a signed copy of my book if
Mm.
they share your podcast with someone else, and then they also follow me on LinkedIn, and then let me know that they watch your podcast. I will send them a free copy of my Can't Stop Won't Stop, a signed copy of my Can't Stop Won't Stop book, and I will do that for you and your listeners.
You are
Um,
so kind. Thank you so much, Delorean. That's so, so nice. And I cannot wait to read it. Just the story behind it, how meaningful it was to write that book and to publish it. So I mean, a big congratulations on that book.
Thank you, thank you. I'll take a quote from out of my book here, and the first quote that I see on page 5
Mm.
is always believe you're great even before anyone else believes it.
I love that. And how could you relate that to your life? How does that quote hold meaning to your own personal life?
Very good question. I think for me, a lot of my friends and family, they are just um, so in awe that I have such a visionary mind, right? I see something as clear as I see what I ate last night. You know, I can see what I want my life to be. Um, and to the very details of everything. I see how clear I want it to be. So for me, when you're in something, you have to envision it, right? One thing I tell people, they were like, well, how did you pay off all your debt in 9 months? I told people, and I explained to people that you have to get it out of your head first, write it down. Because when you write it down, now you have to physically look at it. And then when you physically look at it, you're going to get sick and tired of looking at it. So you're going to want to cross that off. And you're going to be like, man, you know, I said I wanted to go to Fuji. Um,
Mhm.
this has been on my list for the last 5 years. I'm going to Fuji next year. So that's what I believe is that you have to envision where you want to be in life before anyone else envisions it for you. Because if not, somebody might take your idea. Somebody might take that opportunity that you are procrastinating about. So you want to envision where you want to be, set a goal. And for your listeners, I'll give you a special treat. Break your goals down into like a football game for you sports fanatics. What I do in my own personal life and how I paid off my debt in 9 months was treat it like a football game. There's 4 quarters in a football game. There's 3 months and a quarter of a year. So every 3 months, I do something off of my list. So the first quarter, I cross something off. Second quarter, fourth quarter. And by December, that's like the ending of the game. That's the 2 minute warning before the new year comes. And I go into the new year, hopefully, everything that was on my everything that was in that game for that year is done. That's my analogy. It's like a football game. You got 4 quarters to get it done. Break all those things up into quarters. Um, every 3 months, do something on your list, and it'll get done.
I really like that. I got believe in yourself, visualization, and short term and long term goals. And I really do. I think those short term goals, allowing you to celebrate those
Yes.
wins along the way, it really does fuel that sense of um, self confidence, that's building that self esteem as you go through. So when you do hit those inevitable challenges that are going to happen along the way, that you remember that why did I start, and look at what I've accomplished so far. I have to keep going, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, DeLorean, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on the Plenty of Positivity podcast. Your story is truly inspirational to the masses. Like I said, from youth with you starting Release the Brakes to grown adults, being able to overcome and inspire those adults out there that if they have those, long-term goals set, go after them today. Don't wait
Yes.
for tomorrow. So I love your story. And I just know that incredible things are ahead of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you again for the opportunity to come on your platform. Again, I'm looking forward to sending you a signed copy and also a signed copy to your listeners.